You can own a property, you can be a homeowner.
Yes.
And, begin, that investment journey in property. And why not, right? Everybody should have an opportunity.
Yes. In some instances, some of the banks don't do that credit check ahead of time when they do a pre-qualification, right? So it's better to work with the bond originator.
Right.
And also, as mentioned in the previous episode, a bond originator goes to up to 8 financial institutions.
Yeah.
So you're not just relying on your bank and your private bank to give you the best rate from the get-go, because that's most likely not going to happen. We have such close ties with all the major banks. Major banks. We see them at functions, we know what they're about, and some of them even come and sit at our offices once a week.
Great.
to be present with our support staff that assists the property finance specialist with the applications and the motivations at the bank. So we are working hand in hand with the banks, and they know what is their best offer.
Right. Hey, Red Circle family, welcome back to Brick by Brick, your property power purpose podcast right here on Red Circle Television. I'm Dudu, and this is our second episode on our home buyers series. But of course, I'm not running by myself in the show. I am with my lovely co-host, Jean-Ray. Hey, Jean-Ray, welcome back.
Thank you so much for having us back again.
So this episode today, we are going to be, of course, going through more details, information, and giving you as much as possible in understanding how to invest in property or buy property in South Africa. But on today's episode, we're specifically going to be looking at why it's important to get pre-approved by the banks before you go house hunting, before you go looking for that dream home, that mansion, that double-story, triple-story house. Why is it important for you to get pre-approved at the bank? So explain to us just a little bit, Jean-Ray. What does it mean to be pre-approved?
Okay, perfect. Once again, thanks for having us on, Dudu. Yeah, GreenDoor Home Loans is very proud to be associated with Red Circle, and we're looking forward to all the other episodes coming up. But yes, when it comes to pre-approval, I would say it's one of the most important steps, if not the most important step that you have to take before going out to look for property. I think there's a lot of people that don't know what pre-approval is, and that's exactly why we're here, right?
That's right.
So a pre-approval essentially is giving us the opportunity to do an in-depth look into your finances and your credit, basically what the banks will be doing before they lend you money, right? So we'll be looking at all of those details from the eyes or this perspective of the banks, right? Because they're essentially the ones that's going to be approving your application or not.
Right.
So that's in a nutshell what we do. To go into detail, we look at your income. So we qualify it by having a look at your pay slips as well, ensuring that the last 3 months reflect the same amount. And then, of course, your expenses as well. We have an overhead look on what expenses you occur on a monthly basis to see your affordability. But we do that extra step. There's a lot of people that do pre-approvals or pre-qualifications for you, but don't verify the income or expenses. And another thing they don't do is check the credit, which is key.
Yes,
there might be
key.
things on your credit that you don't reflect when you fill in the form. So we have a whole rounded look at all of these things. I think an important part of the pre-approval is obviously honesty. Make sure that you give us the correct information.
Tell us the truth.
But of course, we do our homework, and of course, our property finance specialists will take you through the steps. We have an online pre-approval form, which is very easy to use. We've been developing it over the past 5 years. There's no need to create an account to check what your pre-approval outcome will be. It's basically a form that you complete and you'll get your results.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice. So before we get to the form, basically being pre-approved means it's sort of like a thumbs up, right? Thumbs up, you're good to go. Everything checks out. Go and look for that dream house.
That's
Go and buy that quadruple story house
Yes.
that you've been dreaming about for 5 years.
100%. It's not a complete approval from the
Right.
banks, of course. The bank still needs to give the go ahead.
Mhm.
However, a thorough pre-approval could give you a very accurate idea of what you would be able to lend from the banks.
Nice.
That's
Okay. So, if I am to give you like a scenario,
Cool.
right? You
Yes.
have two buyers,
Mm-hmm.
both of them wanting to view the same house,
Yes.
right? And they enter in there, they go with the real estate agent. One of them has a pre-approval, the other one does not,
Mm-hmm.
right? So tell me, who would be taken more seriously in that scenario? The one who has the pre-approval or the one that doesn't have the pre-approval?
This question is so easy to answer. It feels like it's a trick question.
Maybe it is.
Of course, the one with the pre-approval
Okay.
would definitely be taken more serious. As I mentioned,
Why is that? Why is that?
well, as I mentioned in the previous episode as well,
Mm-hmm.
real estate agents are super hardworking individuals. They're running around making sure to take people to viewings, all the same time filling out the applications, the offer to purchases, working with attorneys, with bond originators to get all of this done, and the banks in between.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can make their lives easier, they will definitely take you more seriously, right? If I've got two buyers looking at the same property and one doesn't have a pre-approval, I will even give that information to the seller to say, listen, one of these buyers or potential buyers is already pre-approved.
Right.
So this can speed up the process.
Mm.
We know that they're qualified for this amount. As soon as they sign their offer to purchase, GreenDoor already has all of their documents ready to send it through to the banks, so we can speed up this process.
Right.
And not
And even as the buyer,
Yes.
it sort of saves you time, right? It saves you a little bit of time.
That's
You
it.
know your affordability already, and going to view that house, you don't have any sort of questions lingering at the back of your head. I love this house, but can I actually afford it?
Exactly.
Type of thing.
Imagine that disappointment, finding your dream home, going in, viewing, getting all excited, telling everyone you found the perfect house,
Mm,
just to get denied by the banks,
right.
right? So give yourself
That
the
is
confidence.
disappointing.
That's
Yeah.
very disappointing,
Mm.
you know. I mean, you know as well, it's difficult to find a place that ticks all the boxes already. You look for a long time, right? So give yourself the confidence. Get the pre-approval done. It literally takes 10 minutes to do.
Mhm.
You have someone on call to assist you. And the other side of it, not just to, minimize that disappointment,
Mm.
it's always better to have it done ahead of time so that you know exactly which price range you can go look in. For example, you think you might only be able to afford a 1 million rand bond, where you can actually
It
afford
turns out,
1.5,
yeah, or two,
and
or
by
three.
using a bond originator, you'll get that additional savings off of your rate,
Mm.
which means you'll qualify for even more.
Right.
So yes, there are two things that we actually look at when pre-qualifying a client. The first thing would be the affordability.
Mhm.
So in essence, affordability means income minus expenses, right? And that will give us an idea of what your monthly repayment can be.
Right.
So we work it out on that. The other side of it is, from the bank's perspective, which what they will also look at is to check your gross income, and it's usually around at 30%.
Mhm.
The banks will look that 30% of your gross income. They will give them a number, and your monthly repayment can't be more than
Exceed.
that. It can't be
Yeah.
exceeded.
Yeah.
Yes. So then obviously between the two, because it's two different calculations, they will take the lowest one.
Mm.
Right. And then base your pre-approval off of that number.
So, guys, before we continue, actually, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and to hit that notification bell so that you do not miss follow-up episodes on this series. It's a very important series because everybody wants to be a homeowner at some stage
Yes.
in their life, right? And this is the perfect series that's going to give you all of the information that you need. So make sure you're subscribed and you hit the notification bell. And also like, share, comment, and follow our social media pages. We'll link them on the
it.
description box so that they know where they need to go for
Yes,
that.
we'll be sharing a lot of info on our
Yeah.
social media pages.
Exactly. More and more and more and more. The more information you have, the better,
Yes.
the more empowered that you are.
100%.
That's right. Okay, so Jean-Ray, I want to get to a few questions
Perfect.
from our viewers. And I'm sure you'll be able to answer these. No trick questions,
All right.
and very easy ones as well. All right, so our first one, because this episode obviously is all about you guys, we want to know, do real estate agents check if buyers are pre-approved? Do they always check? Or are there instances where people can go in, view a property, and the real estate agent doesn't even ask them about their pre-approval?
Yes. So it's based on the individual estate agent or property practitioner and what they would require from their firm. I would say it's always better to just get the pre-approval done since it is free. It doesn't affect your scoring, and you'll have a well-rounded idea of what you can afford. And by presenting that to the real estate agent, they'll know you're serious.
Yes.
So yes, there might be some real estate agents that don't require the pre-approval certificate before taking you out for a viewing. However, it's key to get it done.
I think so too, because I mean, if you're the type of real estate agent who really wants to see a positive outcome for your
Yes.
potential buyer, you would want to make sure that at least they understand what it is that they can actually afford. Are they pre-approved? So that you don't take them on this journey of searching for a property and then it turns out that they cannot even afford it.
Correct. And imagine, you know how scarce it is to find a really good property, right?
That's true.
So if there's one that pops up in the market, you want to be ahead of the game.
That's
You don't want to lose out on that opportunity. So have your things in order.
Especially if it's one that, for
Yes.
instance, everyone
Exactly.
is running for, is gunning for.
That's
Yeah.
when the real estate agents will check.
Right. Because now
Because
there's
they know.
competition.
They know, yes.
Yeah, now there's competition. And then you can come with your pre-approval and say, look, I'm
Take me to
pre-approved.
the front.
Okay, fantastic. All right, next one. I believe this one's important as well. So how do you, as a real estate agent, right, how would you perhaps advise that they ask somebody if they're pre-approved without sounding rude or pushy
Yes.
or perhaps undermining the person's financial
Yes.
ability to approve? Because that can sometimes be something
Mhm.
that people can take offense to, or they can feel, that they're being questioned, perhaps only because the real estate agent assumes that they cannot approve or they cannot afford the property.
100%. That's a really good question because not being a property practitioner or real estate agent myself, and working on the bond originator side, we do get that a lot, that same question from real estate agents, because they will say, really want to get people to do the pre-approval first, but we have finally got interest in this property. We don't want to scare them away by saying, complete this form, tell us your income and expenses.
Right.
And
Can feel a little invasive.
it is, yes. And you don't know in what process of the property buying journey
That's true.
that client is, So I get it. It's a very competitive market. It's a very competitive industry, especially being a real estate agent. So you do want to approach this question with caution, right?
Yeah.
Tone is very important, of course. I mean, most real estate agents are sales professionals, so they know how to approach this. But I would say approach it from a beneficial side, like mention the benefits to the client to say, listen, you're currently looking at properties. You want to come view this property. I'm not sure at which stage of the process you are, if you're just browsing currently and you just want to have a look, or if you're very serious, or if you've done a pre-approval yet. That might prompt them to ask, what do you mean, have I done a pre-approval yet, right? And then you can approach it from there to explain to them, well, pre-approval is one of the most important steps before purchasing a property. It's a quick 10-minute form that you complete, and you'll get a very accurate idea of what you would be able to get from the banks, right? So I would approach it in that manner. Approach with caution and read your clients. Yes. That's it.
And I agree with you, explaining it, right?
100%.
Because I think that is key. If you can take somebody through understanding why they would benefit from having a
Yes.
pre-approval, I think then it'll land a little bit better for somebody. And also it'll sort of give them an idea of you having their best interest at heart.
Yes.
And that you're not just looking for them to go and buy a property or quickly make an offer to purchase so that they can make a commission, et cetera, et cetera.
That's it.
So I think it's important to approach it with that sort of
Yes.
understanding behind it.
And to add to that, we do a comprehensive assessment for that client, right? In case it comes back in a negative way. So we can tell them, listen, we picked up this on your credit, or you're a self-employed individual. This is a more intricate way of applying for a bond if you're self-employed, right?
Yeah.
So let's have a look.
That's a really important one.
Let's have a look at your financials. Let's see how we can structure everything to ensure that you get that positive outcome from the bank.
That's right.
So yes, definitely asking questions to the client and then approaching it from that angle instead of just going, hey, have you done a pre-approval yet? Or I'm not taking you to see this property, which I doubt anyone will do.
No, I hope not.
Yes.
But I hope not, yeah.
It overcomes all the speed bumps along the way. It's quick to do. And like I said, our property finance specialists are on call. It's an online form, but
Right.
you're not just working with a robot.
On your own.
That's someone
Yes.
to take you
Yeah.
through it.
There's
You'll have a
somebody who can
dedicated person.
explain,
Yes.
and I think that's really
That's
good
it.
because, for first-time buyers, sometimes these processes can seem a bit intimidating,
Yes.
and you can end up doing something that maybe you don't fully have an understanding of. So if you
100%.
have somebody that you can call and that can take you through, I think that's always a plus.
That's it. I think
Definitely.
I think the other thing is as well, or one of the fallbacks or what a client would say back to their real estate agent is, I don't need to do it. I've spoken to my banker. I'm okay. In some instances, some of the banks don't do that credit check ahead of time when they do a pre-qualification, right? So it's better to work with the bond originator.
Right.
And also, as mentioned in the previous episode, a bond originator goes to up to 8 financial institutions.
Yeah.
So you're not just relying on your bank and your private banker to give you the best rate from the get-go, because that's most likely not going to happen.
Yeah, trust me. I think I've experienced that myself. I've been
brilliant.
banking with a bank for, I think, since I was 16, and they
Yes.
don't always give me the best offers, to be
Yes.
quite honest. They really don't. I always have to ask, please be nice to me. I've been with you for so long. So I think it's nice. It's good that you're able to go to more than just
Yes.
one, or the one that you know or that you're familiar with.
That's it.
And that way you become, they're then become attracted to you. They must now
Yes.
compete for you ultimately. And I think as bond originators, that's what you ultimately aim for the
Yes.
banks to now start competing for this
That's
particular
it.
client, right?
That's it. And to clarify that a bit, like I mentioned as well, GreenDoor's been around since 2005, right? It's not a matter of pitching the banks against each other. We're approaching it from a relationships perspective. We have such close ties with all the major
all of the
banks.
banks.
Major banks. We see them at functions. We know what they're about. And some of them even come and sit at our offices once a week.
Great.
to be present with our support staff that assists the property finance specialist with the applications and the motivations at the bank. So we are working hand in hand with the banks, and they know what is their best offer
Right.
and when they're willing to fight for the client.
Okay, great.
So yes, it sounds rough out there,
No.
but
No,
but
there are
the
no
great
gloves involved.
No
There's
gloves
no
involved.
blood involved. It's a peaceful fight.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing. There's not one preference of a bank. Each bank's criteria is so
Differs.
different.
Right.
It's really about finding the one that suits that client best.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And where they are in their
100%.
financial journey, what it is that they actually can afford,
Yes.
what they want ultimately for their investment portfolio, etc.
Yes.
That's good. All right. So I think maybe this will be a great time to sort of show our audience an example of your form that you were talking about
Okay.
just now. So the pre-approval, that form, as well as the certificates.
Okay.
I think
Perfect.
to make it a little bit more familiar
Yes.
so that we're not just talking about something that they cannot really relate
Yes.
to or see, I think this would be the perfect time to show them an example of one of those.
Okay, brilliant.
So can you take us through that maybe?
Okay, brilliant. So we'll put up the form on the screen right now
Yes.
to have a look through.
Yes.
Just as a side note, we'll have the link to the pre-approval form in the description as well.
Yes.
So you can have a look at that from there. Firstly, through the form, you'll start by completing all your personal information, name, address, telephone numbers. After that, well, first we'll see if you are applying in a joint or a single application. So if you're married within community of property, you automatically will have to choose a joint application for this reason. So you choose them. If you have any bonded properties currently, you can indicate that as well, and you can let us know if you'll be selling that property or if we need to calculate your affordability based on that property still being in your name.
Right.
From there on, you'll put in your income, gross income, net income, expenses, which is just a rough estimate of your expenses per month. We will verify that by also looking at your bank statements, right? And then after that, we will move down to the declarations. The declarations is giving us that authority to go and draw a lucid credit report. Side note, the credit report does not affect your scoring.
Oh,
it's a soft pull on your credit.
Mm.
So that does not affect your scoring at all. So you can do this with peace of mind, right? We are very cautious of that because we know the effects that a small change in your credit can have with the banks.
I see.
All right. Okay. And then you'll upload a picture of your ID document, which is very easy. You can just, if you're doing the form on your phone, you can just take a picture with your phone.
Okay, so it doesn't need to be certified or anything.
You can just take a picture, yes.
Great.
If it's an ID card, of course, front and back.
And back, yeah.
We know that. After that, you sign, declare, and press submit. But by this time, you will already have been in touch with one of our bond consultants to take you through it in case you need any assistance. After you've completed it, you'll get an email with a few verification questions pulled from your credit. So they can be a bit tricky sometimes. However, you have that bond consultant to contact to say, hey, I answered one incorrectly, help me out, right? And then we can make sure you get your results as soon as possible.
Okay.
Right, and then you'll get your pre-approval certificate, which we can show as well.
Okay, so before we get to the certificates,
Yes.
so basically even going through that form, they're not doing it on their own all the time. So you guys are available.
That's
You
it.
can take them through whatever questions that they have in that process. You'll be able to respond to that.
Definitely.
So you're involved even in that process
Yes.
as well. I think that's important.
It's brilliant because we do pride ourselves on our quality of service. And with one of the things that we push on our side is that you have one dedicated consultant, if you'd like to call that, right? You're not working with multiple people. And that consultant isn't working alone. In our head office, we also have our support staff, which assist the consultant as well. They like that direct communication with the banks as well. So yes, the form is easy enough to do on your own, 100%. It takes about 10 maximum 15 minutes to complete, and you get your results instantly after verifying your identity with those questions.
Okay, so guys, we're going to have the link in the description box.
Yes.
Click on the link, try it out, fill it out, and then if you need additional assistance, GreenDoor will always have somebody there to assist 100%. You. So what else can we do to make it a little bit easier?
For the pre-approval?
Yeah, no, for the form.
The form?
Yeah.
Well, I think the most important thing is make sure you got a stable Wi-Fi connection.
Okay.
It's very simple.
It's not complicated at all.
It's really not complicated. It's your basic information.
Okay.
And that's about it.
Okay.
But yes, speak to one of the consultants. They're always willing to help. And they'll take you through. They'll hold your hand throughout the whole process. Yes.
Okay, cool. So can we create also like a QR code maybe for them to be able to use?
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We'll have a QR code.
Because everybody's doing QR codes these days, right?
We actually have one already.
You have one.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
So very easy. You can just scan the QR code.
Yes.
And it will take you straight to the form.
Straight to the form, guys. Straight to the
Perfect.
form. You don't even have to click anything, Make it simple. All right. So that's it with the questions, Jean-Dre. All right. I have to also be honest. I haven't always used that pre-approval process before going and purchasing a property.
Yes.
However, it hasn't always played in my favor, ultimately. And I think a lot of people can relate to that sometimes we just go ahead and purchase property or make offers to purchase without actually getting that pre-approval done.
Yes.
Because other people have done it perhaps in that way and they've maybe been fine, they've managed to get the properties that they've wanted, etc. But I do see how much of a benefit it is to be able to get that pre-approval. And now I do it all the time.
Great.
I do it all the time. And I know of individuals who have gone out and made offers to purchase because they earn X amount, like a huge amount of money, right?
Yes.
They go out, they make an offer to purchase, and sometimes you can end up making an offer more than what you can actually afford ultimately, because there are so many other costs involved in purchasing a property. We touched a little bit on this on our previous episode.
Yes.
And guys, if you haven't caught our first episode, make sure that you go and watch it. You'll get to know a little bit about what a bond originator is and what it is that they do. I think that's really important. So we're not just throwing GreenDoor at you. You get to understand who they are, how long they've been in the business for, and how it benefits you to actually speak to one of their consultants, we'll call them. Yeah. So going back to the pre-approval process, I think it's really important, especially also for people who are adding to their portfolio.
Yes.
Right. Because sometimes you are invested, you get your returns. Now you have all of this, additional income that's sitting in your account. But you have to sort of get to also understand that even with the income that you have currently or an added income, what is it that you can now afford beyond that and in line with the strategy that you have for your investment. I think that's really important. Just because you've done it maybe once, twice, 3 times, it doesn't mean that you can't keep going back to get that pre-approval.
That's it. And like I mentioned, the pre-approval has space for letting us know what other bonds you have.
Right.
And if you have any additional income through those properties, if you're renting them out, right? That's all the info that we will require to get an accurate pre-approval done for you. The great thing is the pre-approval certificate that gets issued after the form is very detailed.
Right.
As I explained right in the beginning, there's 2 ways that the banks look at the pre-approval: the affordability and the income ratio, the debt to income ratio. We look at both of those, and those both get broken down with all the explanations,
Right.
and we summarize it at the bottom as well. I think we can put up an example of the pre-approval certificate as well, so we can take it through them.
Yes.
And at the bottom, you'll also see it will show you, based on this calculation, you would qualify for a bond of X amount, which equates to this amount per month worked out on prime plus 1. We use prime plus 1 because, we always cater for the worst case scenario. It's about that affordability. We don't know how you're ranking at the banks with your credit, so we always use that worst case scenario. However, we usually get an average of between 0.5 up to 1% below prime, if you're a good candidate, of course, right? So yes.
Something else that you touched on was the credit score and the debt as well.
Yes.
Sometimes I think people may be discouraged in sort of looking at the opportunity to invest because perhaps they have a little bit of debt.
Yes.
Is that something that they should be considering as well? How much should they be considering that? And what can GreenDoor actually do to help them through that process as well? We are going to touch on this on one of our episodes. And we are going to bring in a specialist who's going to talk specifically about that process as well. But what I like is that GreenDoor does take that aspect very seriously. And I think it's a very important one to consider.
Definitely. I think one of the most important ones. Before I answer the question completely. Just to think about it, there are so many people that haven't even checked their credit. You know,
That's true.
that's not
Anybody
sure.
here check their credit? Do you? Often? Not so often? Did you check it? You haven't.
I like the reactions.
Oh gosh, guys. You're right.
It's actually very
Some do,
simple.
some of them don't.
I mean, in all fairness, this was something I also didn't do before purchasing my first property, you know.
Actually, I don't think I did either.
But it's a good thing to do,
Yeah.
especially if you're using a company like GreenDoor and the platform that we use to check, which doesn't affect your scoring.
Yes.
There's no reason not to do it. Some scary things are out there, you know. Some people checking their credit for the first time now realize that, you know, they've got a flag against their name, or they're blacklisted, or fraud has been committed under your name, and you're not even aware of it until you check. So there's a lot of scary things. So it is important. You might think everything is in order, and it might not be.
Right.
So it's probably one of the most important aspects, because when we go back, as we mentioned in the first episode as well, when we negotiate and motivate to the banks, the credit score is one of the things that we use. You know, we can show to the banks, like, this person has been great with their credit, so please reconsider. You know, so definitely it is a really important thing, and I'm very excited for that episode.
Yeah, me too, because I feel that it's such an important topic
It really is.
to really break down, so that people can understand, you know, what it means to have that, how they can correct if perhaps they have a few issues and so on. Because ultimately, we want everybody to have an opportunity to own a home.
Yes.
And I don't think anybody should be excluded from doing so just because perhaps they had, you know, a few mistakes throughout their financial journey, and now they feel perhaps stuck.
Yeah.
So it's not the end of the road. There are solutions.
There are.
You can own a property. You can be a homeowner.
Yes.
And, you know, begin, you know, that investment journey in property. And why not? Right?
Good.
Everybody should have an opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's just once again why that pre-approval is so important. We'll pick up on that, and we can guide them in the right direction. We also have professional debt counselors that we work with closely, and we refer them to them for guidance to see if there's anything that we can do, and then tell them maybe this is all you need to do to correct it, and in 3 months, 6 months, however long it might be, depending on the seriousness of the situation, come back, let's do another pre-approval, and now you're ready to go.
Fantastic. Okay, we'll get more into depth in the next episode, or not the next one, but one of the episodes on the series. We're going to definitely cover that one, because I feel that it's very, very important.
Great.
All right, guys. So that's it for this episode. Our second episode on Brick by Brick, Property Power Purpose podcast. Amazing. All right. So some key takeaways first, before we end it completely for today. Number one, it's important to be pre-approved because it gives you an edge, right? It gives you an edge. It allows you to be sort of on top of the list when it comes to real estate agents, right?
100%. Another thing is that it's free to do, once again.
Exactly. Free. We love free stuff. All right, guys. So let us know in the comments if this has been helpful, if you want to know a little bit more about, you know, the pre-approval process. And of course, GreenDoor is always available. If you need to get to understand that process a little bit more, and for them to sort of take you through, they're always available. And we do have that link in the description box. So make sure that you click on that link and you check out that form and see if you can get yourself started on that journey to being pre-approved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right, guys. That's it.
Thank you.
We'll see you in our next episode, where we will be. What's the next episode?
We'll be going into depth on the different bank products.
Yes.
This is a great one, especially for the first-time home buyers out there.
Yes. So different
lot of
loan
nice
products.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to be looking at that in the next episode. So make sure that you come back, guys. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Hit the notification bell so that you do not miss that episode and all the other episodes that are coming up on this series. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.